This is Sniper signing in to Command & Conquer Riddler 3 on the map Infinity Isle. Spawning on the right side is the green Allies player. This is Moh.Kahaji. And his opponent spawning is the blue Allies player on the left side. This is Never Cheese, aka Andrey. Both sides opening up with a pretty doggone similar build. The attack dogs just kind of dancing back and forth with one another. Engineer out and engineer out as well for Andrey on both sides. Would not be surprised whatsoever to see a refinery, which is more than likely. This is more than likely a refinery. Indeed, it is. Refinery down, refinery down. Basically identical timings. Only difference really is that Andrey's power plant is out here on the water, while Moh.Kahaji's power plant is going to be here inside of the wall structure with his refineries. As you see, you build in those extra couple of rows of building grid just so you can place your power plant inside and just go ahead and take some advantages. The dogs are looks like going to be winning out for Andrey here. 2 versus 1. That one attack dog for Moh.Kahaji cannot stop all of them. Most certainly kind of a little bit of a dog mutual KO trade there. PK v PK. Who has more? I believe that is Moh.Kahaji at this moment. 6, 7, 8, 9. Thereabout. Not all, but here's a multi-gunner IFV loaded with a peacekeeper. That is going to turn the tides very, very quickly. Let's see if Moh.Kahaji's micro is on point, which he did not switch that one, or he swapped. It looked like he swapped it to riot shield, or he tried to, but he swapped it too late as the damage had already been inflicted by this multi-gunner IFV, which did take a lot of damage, surprisingly. So knocking it down to about half health, maybe a little bit less than that yellow area of life. That is some damage that you do not want to see on a multi-gunner IFV this early in the fight. That thing's gonna have to, especially now there's a Vindicator on the field. That is basically RIP. That multi-gunner IFV, down it goes. Another one does roll up to take its place. However, that is one multi-gunner IFV killed for the side of Andrey, while really only one peacekeeper has gone down on the front lines here for Moh.Kahaji. So we do have an airfield double Vindicator. Do we have anything similar? No, we have a fast third ref for Andrey. So Andrey opting for the eco route along with the armor facility as opposed to the airfield route, which most allied players normally take. And this multi-gunner IFV, you're gonna need more multi-gunner IFVs are going to be needed if he is to rely solely on that to stop the enemy PKs. And this refinery, looks like third refinery has already been up for Andrey, or no, it just went down for Moh.Kahaji. Rather, MCV is pulling back just a little bit. This multi-gunner turret is not in a good position, and that's just going to get shot up. The Riptide ACV just doing a bunch of damage to that refinery. That is not good at all. Taking this garrison going to be super annoying. Could very easily focus down the oil derrick of his opponent. However, with this construction yard here now, I would not be surprised. Yes, 3 multi-gun IFVs loaded with Peacekeeper. One of them keeping with the little rockets, the anti-air multi-purpose rockets. This building is going to be going down very, very quickly indeed. Opting for a very heavy multi-gunner IFV route. Again, with this Riptide ACV harass out here on the water, could very easily just commit a Vindicator to clean that up with. Oh, I do not recommend sending Vindicators after those multi-gun IFVs at all. A quick inject or a quick deployment of all the garrison troops. That translates to 1 dead Vindicator for what looks like. I only see 1 bomb scorch on the ground, so more than likely only 1 dead multi-gun IFV. Andrey, I am sure he will be taking that trade all day long. Fourth refinery online for both players, basically mirroring the builds minus the airfield on the side of Andrey. But Andrey, he's making this mass multi-gunner strat work. He doesn't really need the airfield as it stands. But however, these Vindicators, they are extremely mobile, and does it only take 2 Vindicators to take down a Prospector? I am not 100% sure, but it does decide to just go ahead and knock down the power plant, which I believe that's going to knock him to low power mode with 4 ref. It looked like Andrey did sell off that armor facility. Is he going to be going for some sort of follow-up? Maybe rebuild it up here on the front line. Go for, double racks is the follow-up. Double boot camp, mass peacekeeper, with multi-gunner IFVs. This has got to, I think this is one of the wonkiest allied strategies. Triple racks. This is one of the wonkiest strategies I think I have ever seen. What's the answer to this kind of aggression that we are going to see coming out from Andrey? Just staying with the airfield, full airfield of just Vindicators. He doesn't really need Apollo fighters. As Andrey is basically saying, "Huh, allies air? Who needs it? I don't." Will he lose one? That is going to be a lot of damage those Vindicators take. Will he lose it? That is the veteran one, and it does go down. Does lose the veteran Vindicator. That is not good at all. Does not score the kill on that power plant, and now aircraft. Curse of the commentator strikes yet again. Once you mention how a player is not going for something, that player goes for it. In this case, Andrey busting out that airfield, gonna get some air, more than likely some Apollo fighters to challenge the Vindicators that are up in the sky for Moh.Kahaji. 2 multi-gunner turrets and only a single racks and an armor facility. Does have the heightened clearance upgrade, however, so that very well could mean some Guardian tanks to go in for these crushes. The crushes are going to be one of the most absolutely powerful detriments to this army of PKs that Andrey has thrown together. However, Andrey has heightened clearance as well as starting to produce cryocopters, and that is one dead harvester out there. No, not a dead harvester. No, it looks like it got away. It looks like Andrey was on his micro toes. He was paying attention, saw that cryo shot coming, and decided to move that collector out while he still could. Gonna be some harassment here, even though Andrey knows that there's nothing Moh.Kahaji can do to stop this at all. There's absolutely nothing he can do about it. Anti-air is virtually non-existent. Save that multi-gunner IFV, save these multi-gunner turrets on the front lines. The DPS of that shrunken down IFV is just not enough. That is going to be scratch another prospector for Moh.Kahaji, missing 2 prospectors now. Could he be cash stalling? Very possible. No, it does not look like he is indeed cash stalling. He is still paying to repair this refinery out here on the water. That thing is taking quite a bit of damage over this game. I was surprised it's not fully repaired yet. Andrey is starting to repair this oil derrick now. Wants to keep that as many eco advantages over his opponent as he could possibly muster. Now, I'm not sure about this. The racks for Moh.Kahaji has been sold off, but all 3 racks are still online. Granted, Andrey is only building from one of them, so really, if he's not going to be building from all 3, he could just sell them. Which, here he goes. As soon as you mention it, curse of the commentary, he starts building from all 3. Gonna have peacekeepers galore in this army. Moh.Kahaji trying to set up a little bit of a concave, just to go ahead and get one pre-made. That's a good idea, getting that concave in hopes that Andrey will walk right into it. But now he's mixing in javelin troopers. I get the feeling this game is very passive right now. Just both players just poking holes at each other with the harassment, not really accomplishing all too much. Oh wow, Moh.Kahaji just jumping the gun, getting the attacks done, and then Andrey very quickly returning the favor. Apollo fighter is out indeed on the map. An enemy Apollo fighter from Andrey is going to be answering that call, but how could he have won that? Possibly. I think that might have been a fight he could win. This looks like that Vindicator did go down. The multi-gunner IFV here on the shoreline was enough with its anti-aircraft missiles. Did indeed go down. Splashing a couple of his own peacekeepers on that one, stepping in front of the multi-gunner IFVs, stepping in front of other PKs, and did wind up doing some friendly fire to his own army. Just gonna go ahead and take down the observation tower so that it doesn't force a unit split in his army. That's a good tactical decision to make. If this thing was still alive and something went horribly wrong for Andrey and Moh.Kahaji was pushing him further back, then suddenly Andrey's army would have to fight around that observation tower, which having your army split like that could be very bad indeed. 2 Riptide ACVs coming around trying to get some harassment done. It looks like they were able to kill the prospector and do about half health damage on that refinery, but the cryocopters, they do indeed respawn, and that is the end of that harassment right there. That is a gigantic clump of blue sitting on this mini map. There is just such a big clump of blue. and not that big of a clump of green. Now, he does have a Moh.Kahaji does have a sizable chunk of Guardian tanks. The crushes are going to be so critical in this fight. These Cryocopters, they're positioning to try and get themselves a flank, see if they can. What does the anti-air presence look like? Going for that oil derrick. Anti-aircraft presence is not all that powerful for Moh.Kahaji. There's nothing really he can do about it. About losing that oil derrick, nothing at all, really. Not even getting a cryocopter for all of his trouble. 2 Riptide ACVs still just kind of parking it out here. I'd imagine that is for a future harassment opportunity, waiting for maybe those cryocopters to overcommit somewhere, or to get shot down, or to be out of position. Just waiting for an opportunity to go in, and it looks like they are indeed headed that way. Double Apollo Fighter and a Vindicator. I would not be surprised if this is for some type of cryo shot, cryo blast sort of harassment, so that those cryocopters, well, there come the cryocopters now. Here they come. They're on their way. There's no anti-air to speak of. Does Moh.Kahaji have any sort of Apollo fighters? I don't believe he does, but that is not very important. Cryoblast does go down on the front lines, and Moh.Kahaji, I'm not sure this is a good idea. He's attacking into a concave. Cryoblast for himself has just gone down. So Vindicator bombing run does launch. However, that is a lot of just that did not really accomplish all that much. That kind of push from Moh.Kahaji, he attacked right into a concave. I cannot agree with that decision making, to be honest. He is not only outnumbered on the ground, but that concave is just too good. And in Red Alert 3, it's less well, it's still important in other games like Command & Conquer 3 and in Kang's Wrath, but in Red Alert 3, especially in these kinds of mirror matchups, these concaves are so important, especially on a map that is as choky as Infinity Isle, with only one ground corridor to attack from. But now Moh.Kahaji has made the tech switch to tier 3, and so has Andrey. These guys are basically mirroring each other again. Oh, will this Riptide be able to get it? One more shot. In, yes, that one unfreezes, because this one cryocopter was not enough to fully protect that refinery. So now Andrey is down a refinery there. Now we have our first clear advantage for Moh.Kahaji, besides the fact that he has 2 Athena cannons here just sitting and chilling on the front lines. Gonna be taking down these multi-gunner turrets, slowly gonna start pushing back Andrey. And the more he picks at him like this, it's the more likely that Moh.Kahaji will be successful in a future engagement. The cryocopters, they're coming forward, trying to do some damage, needlessly losing a javelin trooper there. It could become important later, could not wind up not mattering, because it's the force multiplier of all these PKs. They can basically nuke down any vehicle that they want. However, there are still a few javelin troopers in this mix, and that is so not good at all. Cryocopters coming down, getting the shrinks off on these Athena cannons, to be making sure that they take as much damage as possible. As that cryoblast is gonna force a lot of units out of position. If these PKs can get up here and start melting and start vaporizing some of these other infantry, the entire engagement is gonna be breaking out. A return cryoblast coming down. That is it. No splits. There are no splits from Moh.Kahaji. His entire army is going to be massacred. Andrey walks into it just a little bit, or at least that's not his entire army, but at least about half of it was just massacred. Army moving a little slowly, moving for the, I think that was a formation move with the slowest unit, which would have just become unfrozen. So much stuff is just on, it's just being, there's back and forth, such back and forth. 5 Athena cannons are now out onto the map. One of them is very, very, very close to dying. Trying to use the Aegis shield as often as Andrey can, is just to protect these infantry from further harm. But that Aegis shield makes you a sitting duck, and when you get combined fired, when you get volley fired by these Athena cannons, there's just absolutely nothing you can do about it. And trying to focus down that armor facility, there's just not enough. These Aegis shields from these Athena cannons coming out of that armor facility just are not enough, and that armor facility is indeed down. Only one Athena cannon. There is a heroic. There it is. We have a heroic Athena cannon 5 of them back out onto the map, and that one hero, the heroic Athena cannon, is enough to nuke down a multi-gunner turret in a single firing volley, and it is almost enough to kill that. That is a heroic Vindicator. It takes a lot of anti-aircraft fire, but that is a heroic Vindicator taken to the map. That is a heroic multi-gunner IFV. We have hero units coming all over the place. Andrey is going to be charging forward with his infantry cloud. That is going to be doing a ton of damage. The Guardian tanks need to come up for the crushes right now. They are not doing anything, just sitting back here, just shooting at these infantry, not doing anything at all. Mirage tanks taking to the front lines. This heroic Athena cannon is in great danger of going down if these PKs get on top of it. Or if a cryocopter comes along and freezes it, that would be the end of it. But these Mirage tanks, two heroic multi-gunner IFVs, that is going to be some sizable anti-aircraft presence there. That will be, yep, scratch one cryocopter going right on down the sky. So that is a heroic Vindicator from Moh.Kahaji now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 heroic peacekeepers on the and a heroic Apollo fighter. Where do all these heroic units come from? That's gonna be the heroic Vindicator down. Heroic Vindicator down for Andrey. It is down. No longer does he have that to support him, and I think this might just be this might be dire straits for Andrey. In fact, I believe it is. That is a cryo-geddon for Andrey. Going to be putting the freeze down on all these units. I believe, as long as you're inside the Aegis shield, which indeed if they are, then that is enough to survive. With those PKs, you need to be careful. Don't lose the heroic Apollo fighter. Don't lose it. He gets it back to base just in the nick of time, and Andrey then cedes the game as he has been defeated. GG and well played to both of these players. And wow, that was quite a little bit of a drawn out early game. Nothing really of interest happened, just aside from the players just poking at each other back and forth with the eco harass. But then once that fight in the middle heated up, that was the fight to end all fights. It just wound up where Andrey's commitment to infantry just wound up not really paying off. Not even that big of an eco difference. Really, the only difference is resulting from Andrey losing his 4th refinery there at the end of the game. With that difference is Andrey's actually ahead total eco wise, which that's kind of surprising. Well, I guess Andrey did do a good bit of harvester harass. I think he did wound up doing more prospector harass than Moh.Kahaji did, but it wound up not really mattering for all too much. 81,000, 84,000, and for about a 17-ish minute game, that's not really all that important of a difference. 5,000 to 5,200, 5,300 income per minute. That's just not the biggest difference in the world, but that fight was a highly technical one. It came down to more of positioning than it did anything else, and so overall, Moh.Kahaji's commitment to vehicles and aircraft wound up trumping the commitment to infantry from Andrey, but still well played to both of these players, and that will conclude game number 1. So let's jump straight into game number 2, which brings us to the map Battlebase Beta, spawning on the bottom side as the yellow Allies player. This is Moh.Kahaji. And his opponent changing it up and spawning as the blue Empire player. This is Nevercheese, aka Andrey. Andrey opening it on up, just getting that single racks, which we've seen Empire players go for anything from a single, double, triple, even racks. They can very easily contest the center of the map, very easily take control of the center of the map. And Moh.Kahaji, seeing with his dog that there's no dojo core, there's no swarm of infantry already on their way up, then he knows very well that he only needs to commit to 1 boot camp. Andrey did commit to 3 refineries, so that's a 3 refinery opener. So that is what, 800, 7,500 between the 3 refs. So 8,300. Add another 250, 8,550. Andrey does not have very much money left to work with after going for that third refinery along with the engineer. That the oil derrick will help offset the costs of everything he is going for. That fast 3rd refinery is going to be very, very useful indeed for getting those Tengus out just a little bit faster. And Burst Drone just chilling here on Moh.Kahaji's harvester. It doesn't seem terribly fussed about it. That might be where that PK is going to clean up this Burst Drone to go ahead and say, hey man, get off of my harvester. Yes, yeah, he has spotted it. A wall has been sold off, And Andrey, paying attention, realizes that PK was going to come over and blap that drone right out of existence. He does indeed tell it to take off and fly somewhere else. Now, Moh.Kahaji, going to be taking this garrisonable structure, sacks 2 of his PKs to get inside of that building. Could very well set this Javelin Trooper up just right here on this upper ridgeline, using the vision from that building, or really he'd be able to see it from up there on the high ground too. Lock into laser lock mode, and so you could just very easily take down the oil derrick of Andrey, which I would not be surprised whatsoever to see that. Andrey did build a air destroyer, a Defender VX turret. Not entirely sure why. Well, he does see the airfield from, or I imagine he saw the airfield before, and that would be about why. As the Vindicator and Apollo Fighter do come in, make a bombing run somewhere, something got shot down. This looks like a Vindicator did get shot down. Whatever they were aiming to bomb, it was unsuccessful, getting another dojo and another generator out. Dojo, that's a little bit of an odd placement for a dojo, but more than likely it's just going to be for digging out some of these garrisons that Moh.Kahaji has taken. Moh.Kahaji basically just basically saying, hey, I have eyes over here. I can see if you come this way. I can see if you come that way. And if you want to dig me out, I'm gonna force you to spend money on my infantry and make you take a technically bad trade. As I believe, wait, no. That would actually be a good trade. It would be a bad trade if the Peacekeeper had to go into the building and dig out these Imperial Warriors or dig out conscripts. I'm pretty sure it's a bad trade for both of us. I'll get hard numbers on hard costs on that one of these days. Tsunami Tanks Tech 2 switch up coming out from Andrey. That's a little glitch out here with the Mecha Bay, not really showing the tech level of that Mecha Bay. That is very, very unfortunate. Whoa, hello. How in the world could I have missed this? Construction yard moving forward, going to be just base pushing. Set up an airfield. He set up an airfield right on the front door of Moh.Kahaji, Andrey. Moh.Kahaji's the one who set it up. Yeah, after that first game, Moh.Kahaji wants to solidify his lead in this series, wants to make it as convincing as possible. As after all, a 2-0 lead is very much better, very much superior to a simple 1-0 lead. And now suddenly this third ref is going to start to pay some serious dividends for Andrey, as Moh.Kahaji is doing this on only 2 ref. He's only on his 2 ref back home. He has one multi-gunner turret defending that base. If something were to happen to these 2 collectors, then that is GG, done and dusted. On all of Moh.Kahaji's eggs are in his one base pushing basket. That's it. And with 3 Apollo fighters, there's not really too much these Tengus can do. He needs strikers on the ground. He needs them now. Strikers is base. That's his next best option in terms of anti-aircraft power. The Apollo fighters, they would just overpower the Tengus too quickly. And now a seaport coming down for Moh.Kahaji, still on that tier 1, so it's not going to have access to very much. He must know about this refinery. I think he does. That's probably the only reason. Yeah, he does. He's going to dispatch a Dolphin or 2 to try and take that refinery offline. Taking that offline means the eco advantage for Andrey will be, in effect, null and void. Just trying to get a little bit of return damage on that Dolphin. And Mecha Tengu does roll up and will finish it off. Another Dolphin. Who will win? I believe a Dolphin's going to win that. Hands down. Yes, indeed it will. A Dolphin will indeed win that fight. Tsunami Tanks is trying to push forward and just be the tanks for these infantry. Those Javelin Troopers and PK they do get dug out. Oh, but nice play from Moh.Kahaji using those Vindicators, targeting down the one Tsunami Tank that will actually have its gun, in not targeting the one with using its nano deflectors. And it's nice play from Andrey, parking that weaker Tsunami Tank next to that multi-gunner turret to force the weaker, or make sure the weaker one's honorable discharge explosion does indeed hurt. Did I just hear that was an engineer. That was an engineer that just went down. The engineer from the sold off con yard of Andrey, and Andrey has been defeated. He had no other options left. He had no answer to that base push, And he just kept throwing his units at that wall of multi-gunner turrets that were going to inevitably continue to go down. There was just absolutely nothing he could do. He was ahead on the eco, average income 4,000 to 3,200, 24,000 to 19,000. That's an extra 5,000 ore per game. That is the second game in a row. And Andrey has had more overall ore collected, but Moh.Kahaji has still managed to pull the win, just because in that game in particular, Moh.Kahaji just totally blindsided him with that base push, and there's just no prepared answer, no response from Andrey. So really, his options were null and void at that point in time. But without dwelling any further on that game, GG to both of these players, and that will conclude game number 2. So let's jump into game number 3, which brings us to the map Temple Prime, spawning on the right side as the red Allies player. This is Moh.Kahaji, currently up 2-0, and his opponent spawning as the blue Empire player once again. This is Nevercheese, aka Andrey. And now something that did occur to me looking as I was loading into this replay, I could very well be casting these games out of order, as I believe that Temple Prime is usually the last the decider map. Usually, I don't know. I could be casting these in order. I could be casting them out of order. I am not entirely sure. In the file themselves, they are labeled, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, indicating the game number. So that's what I've been using to gauge what order I put these games, or I cast these games in. I slowed them up in the order that they are read off. Could that be wrong? It is possible indeed. Attack Dog does catch one Imperial Warrior as it is coming out of that dojo. Luckily for Andrey, that was not an engineer. Very lucky for him that was not an engineer. Another dojo setting up shop over here. That engineer is still going out to the water. Not really much he could do. Well, if he cut and turned and burned for that oil derrick right now, I believe Moh.Kahaji could very well get it. Andrey is going to secure the southern derrick. No problem. Does deploy that dojo. If Moh.Kahaji is going to get that engineer in there, unless it's not meant for the derrick. No, it's meant for the derrick. But will he get there in time? No, unless he moves now. I don't think he'll get there in time. No, not with these Imperial Warriors here. There's no way. Andrey would be able to see them coming. He would switch on their bonsai charge, get their katanas out, and that would be the end of that engineer. Airfield coming back out. Riptide ACV on the map. Could that be? I don't see an armor facility, so I imagine that was probably a sold-off seaport that produced that Riptide. There could be javelins inside. Could be looking to go for some sort of little sneaky-deaky javelin play. Engineer still just parking it out on the water, probably I think just outside of the range of that. Imperial Warrior comes out, and the enemy engineer detected has probably gone off. Will he get it? Will he get it? Will he get it? He's gonna get it. Oh, Moh.Kahaji snapped that right out from under Andrey. This Riptide ACV has been spotted. Could there be some infantry in there? I think there's probably some infantry in there if I had to take a guess. There's more than likely some javelin troopers. Yes, indeed, there are some javelin troopers forcing the bonsai charge, getting a little bit of damage off on that dojo. And he just is going to be forcing out the bonsai charge and killing a few warriors while he can on his way out. Luckily does dodge this garrisonable structure, but had 2 tank busters. That would have been very, very bad if that had... Oh, this is also very, very bad. 2 tank busters get into the airfield, and it looks like at least 1 Vindicator, maybe more, have just gone down. And now the Tengus transform up into the skies. Oh, and another one goes down. Javelin troopers forced to pull out some of their anti-aircraft fighting capabilities. Andrey, he is sick and tired of Moh.Kahaji bullying him around in these few games. He needs to be careful with that MCV crush. MCV from Moh.Kahaji is on its way in. That is a heroic tank buster. Gonna be doing a ton of damage. No, does not need to walk into the MCV. MCV crushes are on point. A ton of MCV crushes does wind up chewing this infantry ball up. But right now, Moh.Kahaji, he has nothing. His MCV is literally all that he has, and now Andrey making the right call, going for some Harvester Harass Andrey is going to be in such a commanding position after this sort of harassment, this sort of damage has been done. And that Javelin Trooper will indeed fall, so the Harvester Rest is still going to happen. Moh.Kahaji has got absolutely nothing. There it is. Fire sale, ceding the game to Andrey. Moh.Kahaji has been defeated. GG, and Andrey picks up his first win and putting a point on the board in this semifinal series for the Win 38. Which, if I did not mention before, this is from the For the Win 38 semifinal series. Probably should have mentioned that at the start. My mistake. And there it is. Andrey was once again in the eco lead. 32, almost a full 1,000 extra income per minute. 12,000, 9,000. It's only less than a 5-minute game. That is very, very important. A rough nearly 13,000 compared to just over 9,000. Those are important distinctions to make, and that would explain where that huge swell of just infantry ball after infantry ball came from for Andrey. Playing very well, he decided, you know what, I am not letting Moh.Kahaji do this to me again this game. I am not taking it slow. I'm going to pick up the pace, and I am going to blindside him for a change, as Moh.Kahaji was totally not prepared for that infantry push. And that concludes game number 3, so let's jump straight into game number 4, which takes us to the map Fire Island. Spawning on the south or bottom side is the red Allies player. This is Moh.Kahaji. And his opponent switching it back up, turning back to his blue Allies. This is Never Cheese, aka Andrey. Andrey he's managed to put a point on the board last game, deciding to switch it back up to Allies. So let's see how he will fare this time around. Standard double racks from Andrey. Looks like only a single racks being opted for on the side of Moh.Kahaji. Yes, likely just going to go straight for a refinery. Just going to go ahead and get that place down. Not going to bother getting, and I'm not going to bother putting a little extra space in there for a power plant. It's just going to stash his power plants like out here on the water, or just kind of dot them throughout his base. A big swell of PKs coming out from a double rack, so you expect that from an ally player on Fire Island. This is a very viable strategy they could go for. You could go for just a single racks if you're banking on your opponent not contesting your oil derrick as heavily. I don't know what in the meta decided that each player goes for like the top player goes for the left derrick and the bottom player goes for the right derrick. I don't know what decided that meta. It's just kind of what I see players doing on this map. Maybe it's a shorter distance to each respective derrick, which that may very well, yes, no, this, looking at how the map is laid out, that is very much the case. It is a shorter distance to the right derrick from the bottom player and a shorter distance to the left derrick from the top player. And now the PKs basically mirroring each other, or at least to some degree. Andrey's Peacekeepers threatening Moh.Kahaji's oil derrick, with Moh.Kahaji's Peacekeepers slowly starting to respond, possibly going to respond over in this direction. No, Andrey's looking to capture. Andrey's Engineer is on the way over. 500 resources dedicated to that Engineer. That is going to be. That'll take a little bit of time to recover the eco for that one. Peacekeeper filled multi-gunner IFV driving up. Gonna see how much damage it can get done, but which is not very much. These PKs are here and ready to nuke down this oil derrick, in which they very well likely succeed. That is going to be scratch one oil derrick, and I would not be surprised if Moh.Kahaji went for Andrey's other derrick and decided to take that one down as well. Would not be surprised at all. Multi-gunner turret preemptively put down. It's just wanting to make sure that his base security is a-okay. Moving his MCV after the airfield placement. Vindicators already on the map. 2 of them to be exact. Is there an answer from Andrey? No, he's going for this heavy multi-gunner IFV Peacekeeper strat again. Will it work? Possibly. I'm not entirely sure if he hasn't spotted them before. Moh.Kahaji has definitely spotted them now, and that is a tell. Seeing more than just 1 or 2 multi-gunner IFVs, that is without a doubt a gigantic tell that says, hey, I'm going to go for the same strat that I did earlier, but switching out those Peacekeepers for some for the regular anti-aircraft firing mode. If not for this multi-gunner turret, he probably could have just dove in there and gotten the other Vindicator on the deck. But these multi-gunner IFVs, they're taking a lot of return fire. Vindicators come back in and take another multi-gunner IFV down. But all the PKs from Moh.Kahaji are they're just getting absolutely wrecked right now. There's a ton of damage coming out. Does wind up losing another multi-gunner IFV, which I think could have been avoided. But a group of 4 more Peacekeepers is gonna be going down. Moh.Kahaji's PKs getting completely waxed right off the map on that one, being forced to withdraw his MCV due to the harassment threat from Andrey. Triple Vindicator, is there going to be an answer? Still no, not from Andrey, and an attack dog blocking the naval refinery. That is ever so annoying when that happens. Very, very much so in the way of being annoying. But for Vindicator, this game's shaping up to be very similar to game number 1. Will they? Oh, well, okay. So one bomb site, one loadout or one payload gets dropped on the Prospector, and the other 3 get dropped on the refinery. Okay, I think he could have gotten the Prospector had he committed all 4 Vindicator bomb payloads to that one Prospector. And now the harassment's moving back up. Does Moh.Kahaji have an answer? Not really. He does not really have an answer to this. It's once again, Andrey didn't have an answer in game number 2, but now Moh.Kahaji doesn't have an answer here in game number 4. He has the 4 Vindicators. They are a strong harassment force and are very good at making those surgical strikes. But with these, the ground force from Andrey is just it's in a better striking position now, almost killing that refinery. Then he needs to be careful about how he flies back. It's low power. Oh, this is such a horrible time for low power to strike that multi-gunner turret. A waste of $800, not getting any value back from it. And those multi-gunner IVs is going to be shooting through these walls, going to allow the Peacekeepers to come in and start doing there's really high burst damage. And that is going to be the end of this refinery. Moh.Kahaji still does not have an answer. He has double racks down. He's replaced this refinery now. It was getting harassed a little bit, but the Vindicators saw to rectifying that error very quickly. Double Vindicator do finish off another refinery from Moh.Kahaji. Cryoblast does come down as it catches a lot of those Peacekeepers from the look of things. One heroic multi-gunner IFV. Do any of these other ones has some ranks on them? No, it does not appear that they do. And a lot of anti-aircraft fire. Vindicators gonna need to be very careful about engaging this threat. No, that couldn't have been. That could not have been Moh.Kahaji's. No, that was Moh.Kahaji's cryo shot. That was Andrey's. Never mind. My brain stopped working there for just a moment. First day of university classes, they kind of they put the wear and tear on my brain just a little bit. Freezing down that barracks, not entirely sure it's gonna do all that much. Like, I mean, he froze it down and took it out. Only 1 racks now, but there's already a sizable Peacekeeper force here. But I mean, it could be cleaned up by these multi-gunner IFVs, especially with these Peacekeeper garrisons. Could very easily clean that up, no problem whatsoever. Andrey going for the harassment again. Yes, that Prospector offline. Command hub down, so there is build radius over here, so Moh.Kahaji can replace that refinery at his whim. But right now he is mining off of. Okay, he does have this one, so he is mining off of 2ref right now. 2ref, and he might be cash stalling. Actually, I don't know if he has that paused or no. He is probably cash stalling. And these Peacekeepers, this is a horrible engagement for Moh.Kahaji. Those multi-gunner IFVs, it's not that they could have been microed a little bit better in that engagement. Does lose 2 of them without catching any of the Vindicators. That is a plus for Moh.Kahaji. Does wind up getting his 3rd Prospector back up. But now his entire Peacekeeper ball is just dead, and there's not really an answer for these Peacekeepers now coming back up. This multi-gunner turret is deployed. Boot camp does come down. Not really building anything out of it though. This group of Peacekeepers just move behind the refinery, and it takes 3 bombs to take down each Peacekeeper, but the attack dogs says they do come out, get the amplified barks off. I believe that's what it's called. Yes, the amplified bark stuns the Peacekeepers of Andrey. That is a 5th refinery for Andrey. Oh boy, 5th refinery on the ground. So 4 to 5 ref now. But this 4th ref has been forced off of the line yet again. Andrey has got some impressive anti-aircraft presence now. He has gone for Apollo fighters, switching it up from game number 1 instead of just relying solely on those multi-gunner IFVs. Straight for some Apollo fighters as well as Vindicators of his own. Attack Dog still just kind of chilling it up inside of that base of Andrey. Lots of this random little PKs going down. Positioning for these Apollo fighters is going to be important. You don't want to just lose fighters wantonly if you can at all help it. Of course, they are in no danger sitting where they are. There is basically, if you don't count this multi-gunner turret, there is no anti-air. Well, there is now. He's starting to construct Javelin Troopers, but that would be very easily cleaned up. There it is. A stop micro coming out from that Vindicator, going to be taking down that Javelin Trooper with ease, no problem whatsoever. Trying to stutter step backwards with these PKs, and Moh.Kahaji's Apollo fire is going to be overwhelmed here very quickly. Down it goes, and it's another more attack dogs, so just going down. And multi-gunner IFV here to supplement the PKs who are already stunned up, but it looks like they're all going to be, all the PKs save one are going to be going down from Andrey, all the PKs save one very weak elite one from Moh.Kahaji going to be going down, and there it goes. That one does indeed go down, and that is a Chronosphere. Defense Bureau and a Chronosphere are on the ground. Could we see a Proton Collider? It is possible, very possible indeed. And is that cryo shot not quite enough to freeze that refinery? Could it have made a difference if the beam, like, does the cryo blast and cryo cannon, does it freeze the same amount over its entire radius, or does it freeze more concentrated, or does it do more like freeze damage toward the center of the blast area near the beam itself? I am not 100% sure on that one. And if somebody knows, please feel free to leave a comment down below and let me know. And I did see this pop up just a few seconds ago. Proton Collider. Indeed, it is. Andrey is saying, okay, Moh.Kahaji, this is kind of stalemating it out. You want to turtle up in your base with just some multi-gunner turrets. That is fine. I will sit here with my super weapons and I will pick you apart that way. Which, if Andrey just realized that there's a command hub here. There's a command hub here. I am not entirely sure why. Maybe Andrey is going to put down racks and try and capture. Maybe, not 100% sure. And there it goes. 2 heroic PKs still go down to, it looks like still goes down to 2 Vindicator bombs. That heroic status does not give them enough health to weather 2 Vindicator bombs. That is very depressing indeed for Andrey. But he is aware of this command hub and is sending Peacekeepers up here to deal with it. Make sure nothing bad can really come of it. It looks like Moh.Kahaji is going to be queuing a multi-gunner turret, and let's say he is cash stalling again. It's at least a little bit is going to be cash stalling, putting out a boot camp. I don't think he realized just how many of Peacekeepers were here and just how much or how drastic the response force was going to be. Did put down a multi-gunner turret right here next to the refinery. If Andrey is quick, he might be able to save it. Will the Vindicators do splash? No, they won't. He does wind up saving the refinery for at least a few more seconds. Is he going to be able to kill the Peacekeepers? One of them gets crushed. That is a ton of DPS gone. This thing has very red health, and it does. The refinery is saved. It is saved, and a Vindicator, I think, is just going to suicide. Yes, does wind up suiciding and taking down that refinery. Forcing the sell-off over here with a cryoblast, which I'm not sure a cryoblast is actually enough to take down a refinery. I'm not entirely sure it is enough to take down a refinery. I think it's not. But these super weapons still just counting on down. Chronosphere almost ready indeed. Cryocopter is out from Andrey, but that multi-gunner turret doing its job, taking down one Apollo fighter, taking down and putting that cryocopter on a really low amount of health, in which that allows that Apollo fighter from Moh.Kahaji to swoop in and take it down. Now this could be an offensive chronosphere. It could be a utility chronosphere, like offensive meaning you use it on your opponent's units, especially infantry. Moh.Kahaji needs to be extremely careful about committing to infantry. As committing to infantry, if you group up for too long, that means it's just a quick double tap click of that chronosphere, and that is one dead horde of infantry you have. Apollo Fighter does wind up going heroic. Is that just still that same attack? That's still just an attack dog parking it out there in the water. This force of peacekeepers is exactly what I'm talking about here. If they group up for too long, if Andrey forces the group up from Moh.Kahaji, then suddenly those peacekeepers, that chronosphere, will be very deadly. And multi-gunner turret does come down. Moh.Kahaji is really committing this multi-gunner turret type defense. And there it goes. A quick double click, taking down those PKs from that chronosphere. 2 minutes and 11 seconds still ticking on that proton collider, but I'm not sure it'll have the chance to even fire. Moh.Kahaji is just getting pushed all the way down. Cryogeddon does wind up coming down, freezing the airfield, the turret, the two power plants. It's 3 go down. Will another? Yes, that is a now heroic multi-gunner IFV. And MCV packing on up. I guess he has to go for the miracle crushes. That's the only option he has left, is some miracle crushes, which he's tearing into the PK ball just a little bit, but not enough. I don't think he's really doing it enough. If he got a crush on this many grouped up peacekeepers, now that could certainly make a very important difference. Riptide ACV attacking multi-gunner IFV, that's not a very good idea at all. Andrey's not paying attention. Andrey's not paying attention. Oh, giant crush. Giant crushes coming off from that MCV, but now this cryocopter is here. That is certainly going to be the end of it. Or will it? It goes down to a heroic Apollo fighter, but no, that is still the end of the MCV. Still goes down. Too much firepower is here on the shoreline. A heroic Vindicator now on the map needs to pull back. One more hit would have killed that Riptide ACV. Needs to be extremely careful. But only one source of anti-air. Nope. One source of ground anti-air, but 3 Apollo fighters that are now camping the airfield. Nothing really. That is a heroic. No, veteran. I thought that looked like a heroic Vindicator there for just a moment. Veteran Vindicator, a heroic Apollo fighter, doing its work right now. It's ensuring the takedown of 2 enemy Apollo fighters. As this cryocopter is as good as dead. Down it goes. That heroic Apollo fighter, that's going to be important, and so will that heroic Vindicator getting some naval-based anti-aircraft. So that's a good call indeed. Not having. He is doing this. Moh.Kahaji is doing this all off of 1 refinery, so every last unit that he has is extremely important. If these units go down, that is basically the end of him. But that proton collider did count down, and that is a ton of damage done. That's everything. Moh.Kahaji's out of this game. That is game number 4 going in favor of Andrey. GG, and we will be taking it to game number 5, to the ace match, as Andrey pulling it out on that one. He basically out-camped someone who was trying to camp it out. Moh.Kahaji decided to commit for this camping type strategy, just building up walls in his base, and so once he was cornered out there on the water, there really was just nowhere for him to go at all to get away from that proton collider. It's just money just gradually got more and more in favor of Andrey, which basically allowed it. Look at that difference. Oh my word, look at that difference. 34 to 5,500 per minute average income, 58,000 overall versus 95,000. That is almost a 40k difference. Like, Andrey had money to just burn on whatever in the world he wanted that game. Moh.Kahaji, he had the 2-0 lead, but he couldn't seal the deal, couldn't quite pull it out. So now it is going to the ace match in game number 5. So without any further ado, let's go. Which brings us to the map. Industrial Strength spawning as the purple Allies player, switching up his color for the first time this series, I believe. This is Moh.Kahaji. And his opponent spawning as the Blue Empire player, swapping it back once again. This is Andrey. Swapping it back to the Empire player. This Andrey was able to start this comeback as Empire. Maybe he'll be able to finish it as Empire as well. Double Rex going down, double ref. Will he go for a third ref? I doubt it. I don't believe he'll be going for a third ref. As if he was, he probably would have only committed to one dojo. He needs to be careful of the attack dog camping right there, not to deploy the dojo. Oh, well, he deployed the dojo. So now it's yes, and Moh.Kahaji is definitely paying attention to that. Moh.Kahaji is going to be able to camp this dojo pretty hard now. Gonna be pretty much the end of that, and not even actually building. Well, that dojo is taking some javelin trooper fire. He needs to pull that one back. Moh.Kahaji convincingly grabs that dojo, and somehow it does overwhelm the attack dog. It does somehow get the attack dog. That is surprising, but now both players able to nab their respective oil derricks. So it's that dojo core that was sent over to the right did wind up going down, so that's $500 down the bucket without really accomplishing much of anything. Airfield fast airfield. Looks like Moh.Kahaji, could he be going for a cryocopter strat? We've seen that on industrial strength before. He is certainly walling off. If he goes for heightened clearance, one Vindicator and a whole bunch of, or one or two Vindicators and just a whole bunch of Apollo fighters, he could very well be pulling this off. He could very well do it. Going for the complete wall off of his base is, well, is he just going to drive through the wall? I don't think the build radius stretches that far, does it? I don't think it does it. Or does it? Does the build radius seriously stretch that far? Well, no. I bet he thought it did, but it actually doesn't. So now Moh.Kahaji's got to sell some of those walls and go back around. Does wind up losing one Jet Tengu to these Apollo fighters. One Apollo fighter sent back on fire, very weak, being forced to recall back to the airfield. No, it didn't recall. He's still here on the front lines. Oh, okay, so he didn't recall at all. That's dangerous. These Tengus, yes, and that's ripped two Apollo fighters straight out of the sky. One more at full health is not enough to take on that many Jet Tankers. He's only committed long enough to get out to take down that one Tengu. Very smart move from Moh.Kahaji, just taking out whatever units he can, wherever he can, however he can, and making the most of the units he's been given. But as I say that, losing one of his Apollo fighters over his own home airfield. Will he lose another one? That Apollo fighter needs to run for its life. Run for its life. It does wind up going down. Vindicator taking down. Apollo fighter taking down one, Vindicator taking down another. As it does go down, man, Tengu's just going down everywhere. The Tengu carcasses are just littering, or the blast radiuses of the carcasses of the Tengus are going to be littering Moh.Kahaji's base for just a little bit. One PK is slowly whittling down the oil derrick for Andrey. That is something you don't want to see at all if you are Andrey. It's having one little PK wearing down your oil derrick. Now this time, oh, that is an all-in from Andrey. Triple dojo. We have some infantry cheese coming. Infantry cheese is on its way. We have heightened clearance. Is there going to be a cryocopter? Moh.Kahaji needs boot camps, and he needs them now. He needs a PK swarm, and yes, there's already a cryocopter. One dojo already taken down. Another one is going to be nullified by this cryocopter. It doesn't even finish deploying. This infantry cheese just got shut down so hard. It does not help whatsoever that Moh.Kahaji spotted it. Moh.Kahaji spotting this sort of infantry cheese, that does not help anything at all. Striker VI is coming out onto the ground, putting some damage on that Apollo fighter, but that is not enough. Those Vindicators are going to come on and destroy it. Another one comes out. Will it be able to? It does get the kill on the Apollo fighter, but to be honest, I think it's a moot point right now. All he has to do, all Moh.Kahaji has to do is just, and I think he's doing it. He's not. Well, he might be doing it. if he commits for mass cryocopters right now, or if he commits mass cryocopters right now, destroys these two Striker VXs on the ground, and yes, there it is. He could have just frozen down the Mecha Bay, and suddenly, that is it. Andrey has been defeated, and Moh.Kahaji takes the win in this semi-final series for the win number 38. GG and well played about these players. That was a good idea from Andrey, but it did not help that Moh.Kahaji spotted it from the get-go. Getting spotted that early, if you're gonna cheese, the biggest thing is to never get spotted. And I just thought about it. His Smurf that he's running as, never cheese. Well, he just tried to cheese, sort of. So I guess never cheese, just tried to cheese, but it didn't really work out. But you know, so that's basically the golden rule to pulling some sort of sneaky cheeky play like that, is if you get spotted, discontinue it if you can. Do not commit. Do not press into it as hard as you possibly can, because your opponent, he knew that Moh.Kahaji knew exactly where those dojos were going to go from the get-go, was able to just follow them, track them, and that's just suddenly all she wrote. 5.5 minutes for a game, 14,000 to 18,000, pretty significant, as Andrey 0.4 KD ratio and 0.32 efficiency. It's with a 2.1 and a 2.11 respectively for Moh.Kahaji. That's the numbers show it. The answers are in the numbers, and Moh.Kahaji just has the numbers on his side. He played to a better source of strategy. He made the right moves, and he was able to read the situation for exactly what it was and reacted accordingly, and was able to shut down Andrey and claim the spot for the finals for the win 38. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you have enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. And this is Sniper signing out.